What's up guys, Brandon here, another video. Today we're going to talk about how often you should step on stage. Now I know a lot of people get the fitness bug, as soon as they start competing, right? They want to jump back on stage and get back out there and strut their stuff. And although that attitude is good to have, you should really love what you're doing, that can actually hurt you in the long run. Now I've seen it time and again, year after year. So I've actually been competing since 2011, but I've only competed in 3 seasons, right? So it's 2017, 3 seasons. That's not competing too often. What I see a lot is people competing, spring, fall. That's the worst case scenario. And then another bad scenario is them competing year after year. And although, some people might make progress at the beginning, if you keep doing that year after year, you're bound to start losing some muscle and you might actually look worse each time you go out on stage. And the goal should be to look better, right? I think everybody pretty much agrees with that each time you compete, you should at least look as good or better than you did last time. So, with that being said, what you want to do is obviously take time off. Now, how much time should we take off? That is the question of all questions when it comes to competing. Like I said, sometimes people's excitement get the best of them, but those seasoned competitors learn to taking time off is a necessary evil. Now, in my current situation, the last time I actually stepped on stage was May of 2015. So it's been a while. And the next time I will step on stage will be roughly in August of 2018. So that's definitely over 3 years, 3.5 years of what I'll be going from stage to stage. And I am totally fine with that. And why is that? It's because being a natural athlete, first of all, it takes a long time in order to gain muscle naturally. And I'm talking about a few pounds a year. Now, for an enhanced athlete, they could gain a few pounds in a month, but we're gaining a few pounds over the course of a year. And as you get more advanced, that rate of muscle gain slows down tremendously. And some guys are fighting for a pound every year. And think about it, a pound on anyone's physique will make a huge difference, especially at the very elite level. So that's one reason, why you have to not compete all the time. Obviously, you have to be in a caloric surplus in order to gain, or at least that maintenance, to gain lean tissue. Another big reason why people need to take time off, and this is a mistake that a lot of newer competitors make, is they diet for a show, let's say in the spring, and then they gain some weight, and then they try to diet back off that weight and compete in the fall. And then they do the same thing for the spring and the same thing for the fall. So they are just going in these cycles of drastic up and downs, and up and downs. And that's going to play havoc on your metabolism, especially for a younger competitor, or I should say a newer competitor. You really need to let your body rest after going into a hard deficit for a long time. And with the longer that or the more times that you continue to go in a high surplus and a caloric deficit, it's going to get harder and harder to lose that weight every single time, the more frequently you diet. Another big reason that you need to take a break is just the mental aspect. Now, I know a lot of people say, I can do it, I could stick to a diet for 12 weeks, 20 weeks, 24 weeks. But when you're doing that for, 2/3 of the year, you're in a caloric deficit, those are a lot of times for you to screw up. So for me, I've been enjoying my food for, these 2+ years. And sure, I've gone through mini cuts along the way, but there's a time and a place to go into an extended deficit. Now, in another video, I already talked about my new diet scheme in order to leading up to this next competition, so I won't really touch on that too much. But there's a certain way that you want to set yourself up for the next competition, obviously. So, another mistake that especially younger competitors make, and I made it myself. I actually competed in 2011 and 2012 when I first started getting into bodybuilding. And at the time, I was 19 and 20 years old. So when you are, 18, 19, 20, our hormones are about as high as they're going to be in our adult life, we'll say. So your testosterone is through the roof, and all those, we see a lot of very good gains hence the shirt, during that time span. So why spend your prime growth years constantly dieting for a show? So a lot of my younger clients, I allow them to compete just one time as a team. And although they're itching to compete year after year, I tell them, hey, you know what? We're going to put you in a team class. We're going to see how you do. You know, we're going to try to dominate that. And then we're going to come back, you know, when we're in college or even after you graduate. And that way we take advantage of these prime growth years. And that's one of the mistakes that I made when I was a younger competitor, is I really wanted to compete and get back out there and show everybody my hard work. But the best thing that I did was take from August of 2012 to it was March of 2015 off from the stage. So although I did diet during that time span, once again, it was an extended off season. Now, if you were to look back at the pictures, and I'll try to put them in the video, from 2012 to 2015, I made tremendous progress. And it's not that a whole lot really changed during that time span. I just had, you know, more years of lifting in me. I was still tracking macros in 2012, and I obviously tracked them in 2015. I was still training just about as hard as I was in 2012 as I was in 2015. So the only thing that really changed for me was the time off from the stage, the time not dieting. And I've had some people ask me, man, what the hell did you do from 2012 to 2015? Like, you made some crazy progress. And I say, honestly, I didn't do anything special. You know, I just took time off. And I think that's where a lot of people falter, is just not taking time off from the stage. Now, some of you that are on the upper end of the age realm here only have a certain amount of good years left in us. So I would say, you know, if you're in that 40 plus category, you know, you can compete multiple years in a row if you execute it right. But if you're a younger competitor, especially if you're newer to the sport, I would recommend at least taking off a full year in a surplus, I'll say, before you start dieting again. So with that being said, you know, let's say you compete in this, if you competed in the spring of 2017, I would want to see you be in a caloric surplus through the fall all the way to the spring of 2018, and then maybe consider competing in the fall of 2018. But, you know, I took about, 2.5 years off. I think the best thing, if you're looking to drastically transform your physique, is take a minimum of 2 years off. And I know that scares a lot of people when you say take 2 years off from the stage. And I know some people probably could come back in one and make a small impact, right? So you'll see small steps over the course of the years, which is great. You know, any progress is good progress in my book. But why not take that one extra year off to really blow your physique out of the water? And then take another 2 years off, or maybe even 3 years off. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking 3 years off because, I turned pro, I competed as a pro. In all honesty, I did win one pro show. It was kind of a small show, but then I got my ass kicked in another pro show. And I said, never again. And how did the guys beat me? Well, they were just a lot bigger. And the only thing that's going to allow me to get to that next level is to be bigger. And that involves me being in a caloric surplus for an extended amount of time. So I easily could have competed this year. I would have had 2 full years off or more, depending from stage to stage. But I told myself, you know what, let's go 3 years and see what happens. And you have to, once again, you have to learn to love the whole process, not just the dieting and the competing phase. So hopefully this helps. You decide when is the next time to appropriately step on the stage. Especially if you're a younger competitor, I can't stress it enough how important it is to take time away from the stage. Although, you might really want to jump back on, the best thing you can do is to take time off. So until next time, guys, keep crushing it. Get those gains, like, subscribe, and comment below.